What's up, you guys? Rex here. And I just finished my 6th week of medical school, and since I have exams every 2 weeks, even number week means I have an exam tomorrow. All right, so I have my second exam tomorrow. It's covering a lot of anatomy stuff, a lot of sort of biochem, enzymes, that kind of stuff, and then we also have a histology practical. So last exam I had an actual anatomy practical. This exam period I have a histology practical, so I won't be going into the cadaver lab to do part of my exam, but after my exam, I'll do my exam, then my team exam, and then do my histology practical, which is all online, looking at microscope slides and stuff like that. And so I'm curious how this one goes. That I'm not sure if it's going to be about the same difficulty as the last one, harder than the last one, easier than the last one. But I'm looking forward to sort of getting past this and saying that, all right, I have 2 exams under my belt. Either I know what I'm doing or I need to change things and rethink my strategy. And so I feel comfortable with it. I definitely haven't finished studying. It's like 8 o'clock right now, and I've got some more stuff to cover. And I've been studying a lot, not like a crazy amount. I would say that I sort of have studied all day, but that's not an all day thing. I went and worked out in the morning. I, did some other stuff, just hanging out in the morning. I went and got lunch with a friend for 2 hours. And so there was a lot of breaks thrown in there, but basically the majority of my day I spent studying, and then I studied a little bit, maybe 2 hours on Saturday as well. So I've put in a good amount of studying, and it feels like I know what I'm doing, but we'll see what tomorrow says. That maybe I'm overconfident, maybe I'm right on. I think I've learned from how I studied for last exam, and I'm applying that to how I'm studying for this exam, and think I have a routine going. And so if things go well, I'll probably make a video pretty soon, sort of going over how I think I'm going to study going forward in medical school, so that maybe I can look back from it when I finish first year and see how right or wrong I was, and how much I change or how much I keep things the same, and in what ways I change, because that'd be a curious thing for me to be able to look back on. But that's where I'm at with this week. And so, as I'll do every Sunday, I just want to share something cool I learned this week. And so this week I learned a cool anatomy thing. So in anatomy this week, we did a dissection where we got to dissect the hand. And so what right now is, we'll see if it changes, my current favorite muscle in the human body are the lumbricals of the hand. And so these are really interesting to me because of their function. And so you have a lot of different flexors here, which make your fingers go like that. And you have a lot of extensors here, which make your fingers go like this. And so most of them have a tendon that goes up through your flexor retinaculum, goes through the palm, comes and makes a tendon that, some of them split off and go distal, some stay more proximal. And so they generally all bend all of these joints, your phalangeal metacarpal joint right there, and then your between your proximal interphalangeal joint, and then your distal interphalangeal joint. And so they sort of all do this, or they all do that. But your lumbricals are interesting, and that's actually a muscle inside your hand. And it's cool because it originates on a tendon, on the tendons that are of your flexors. And so that's unique that it doesn't originate on bone. So that's one thing that makes it cool to me. But what's really interesting is it runs, and so let's see if I can do this maybe so you can see. And so it runs where it comes on this side of this joint, but then it goes up onto the back, the dorsal side of your hand, and it goes into what's called the extensor hood. All the extensors sort of fan out into this hood shape as it helps you extend your fingers. And so since it's going on this side of this joint, but this side of these joints, it both flexes and extends. And so it is flexing this joint between your phalange and your metacarpal, but it is extending the joints between your phalanges. And so if you're just flexing your lumbricals, it makes you want to be in this position here. And so what's cool to me about it, maybe I'm just a geek about anatomy, is that you can really feel this happening. And so if you are just nice and relaxed and you curl your fingers down, you don't feel anything happening in your hand. Just put your hand up, curl your fingers down. Now extend your fingers, and your hand doesn't really do anything. So you can curl and extend. But now if you curl down and then push your fingers out like that, now all of a sudden, this movement, you feel that it's all your hand is doing all the work. And so it's something that's really interesting that you can feel that this muscle is unique. And if it wasn't for this muscle, we'd sort of only be able to move our fingers in one of these positions. This would never be an option. And so how useful is that? I'd be curious to hear from one of our professors who's like a comparative anatomist, evolutionary biologist type thing, and studies anthropology, and curious that like how monkeys use this if they're climbing to get that position. But for humans, that's super useful for some of our dexterity. And so an example where that would be useful for humans is writing. And so if I hold my pen like this and I want to just do a small movement in and out, what I'm doing is I'm significantly using my lumbricals to be able to do this movement. I'm not only limited between moving my pencil like this and like this, I actually can do this forward back thing. And the reason that's possible is because of our lumbricals. And so that's just a super cool muscle to me. I don't know, maybe I'm a nerd about that, but that's something I learned this week. And so if you want to see more of some interesting things that are interesting to me that I learned in my journey becoming a doctor, make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, whether it's about my thoughts after my second exam or about lumbricals, I guess, make sure to leave it down below. I'll read and reply to every single comment. If you like the video, like the video. If you dislike the video, dislike the video. And until next time, don't be ordinary, go be great.